Okay, so the next accessibility feature that we're going to look at is the keyboard features. So before we start looking at it, I just opened up a Google Doc and I typed out some text. So this is some text that I typed out. Okay, so I'm going to use this as an example. So to get to the features for our keyboard, I'm going to go down here, open up our menu. So then from the menu, I'm going to hit the settings. So then from the settings, I'm going to go into advanced. I'm going to scroll down to accessibility. I'm going to go into manage accessibility features. And I am going to scroll down to this part right here, keyboard and text input. Okay, so we're going to look at each one of these. So the first one is sticky keys, enable sticky keys. So this one is kind of a tricky one that a lot of people don't know about. And what it does is it gives you the ability to launch a combination of keys by just tapping one button. So for example, I know a shortcut for copying text. And what I do is let me demonstrate with my doc. So like if I wanted to copy the word out, I can just move my cursor to the beginning of the word. I hold the shift button down, and then with my right arrow, I highlight the word. Okay, and so now here's the combination. So I hold down Control and then C, and then I let go, and that copied it. I copied that word out. So now to paste it, I would hold down the Control button and then the letter V, and so that pastes the word. Okay, so every time I hit Control V, I can paste the word. Okay, so now let me delete it. Hit this little X to ignore it. I'm holding the shift button and then I'm doing the left arrow just to delete it. Okay, so with sticky keys, what we can do is we can highlight the word, but instead of holding down Control C and Control V, we can do it with one hand. So I can use the sticky key to without having to do that combination. So this is good for people who maybe they only have use of one hand, or maybe they need help with coordination and they can't type or they can't hold down two keys at one time. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my settings. I'm going to enable the sticky keys. Okay, and I'm going to go back into the Google Doc to demonstrate. So I'm going to highlight the word out. So I'm going to copy. Actually, I'll do more so that way you can really see. So I want to copy typed out, and then I'm going to paste it next to it using the sticky keys. So to use the sticky keys, I just click on Control one time. And over here on the left, I get these options. So Control, Alt, Shift, and Search. These are the keys that we can make sticky. Okay, so knowing that the combination Control C is what copies, what I do is then I hit Control one more time. So now it's underlined. That means Control is activated. That's like as if I'm holding it down, but really I'm not. I just hit the Control key twice. So now the next thing I do is I'll click the C button. Okay, so now that just copied it. Okay, so now I'm going to move my cursor over here. So let's say I wanted to paste that, the words that I just copied. I want to paste them right here. So again, I'm going to hit Control one more time, and now I'm going to hit V, and it just pasted it. Okay, and since Control is still activated, every time I hit the V, it pastes it, because that's what it's kind of like as if I'm holding down the Control button right now. So if I click Control one more time, it's not there anymore. And now when I do the V, it just types out V. Okay, so that's sticky keys. And sticky keys only work for, let me delete this really fast. So sticky keys, I'm going to click Control one more time. It only works for Control, Alt, Shift, and Search. So if you need to do any combination, like maybe Control, Alt, something else, a letter, you can hit Control. So now Control is activated. And then if I want to also activate Alt, I hit Alt. one more time. So now Control and Alt are activated. So then now I can just click another key, whatever that combination of Control Alt, the third letter would be. Okay. So to unactivate them, I just hit Alt one more time, hit Control one more time, and then it goes away. Okay, so that's sticky keys. I don't know too many people that use it, but if you find it useful to just use one hand, that's what sticky keys will let you do. Okay, so I'm going to turn sticky keys off. So the next thing we're going to look at is enable on-screen keyboard. So what that does is when you turn it on, down here at the bottom, you get this little icon that looks like a keyboard. When you tap on it, now we have a keyboard right here. So what we can do is we can, let me pull up my Google Doc. So I'm going to minimize it. So we're back in our Google Doc up here. So here I can tap and it's going to give me, and it works just like a keyboard. So I'm just moving my cursor over the letters and I'm tapping, and it works just like a keyboard. You have the space right here. So this works really well if your screen is touchscreen. So this Chromebook that I'm on is not a touchscreen Chromebook, so it doesn't really help. But yeah, if this was a touchscreen, then I could just touch the letters and it works just like a keyboard, but on the screen. The other neat thing about using this is, and it's actually another feature, another accessibility feature, it has word predict. So as I'm typing something out, so let's say this, and it's actually predicting, because I'm going to type out the sentence. This is me typing another sentence. That's what I'm going to put. This is me typing another sentence. So as soon as I typed this, here I got the word predict. So now I can just tap is, and I don't see me up here, so I'm going to start typing M-E. Okay, this is me. So here's trying. I'm looking for typing. So no, this is me, T-Y-P-I-N-G. This is me typing another. Okay. All right. Sometimes it does predict. Sometimes it takes a while for it to learn how you write sentences. But anyways, that's kind of how it does the word prediction. Okay. And since we're here also, another thing that we have available to us is this microphone right here. So if I click on this microphone, okay, that's just a little warning. That's okay. I'm going to hit got it. So now this is me speaking my words and the microphone is picking it up, and I do not have to type out my sentences anymore, period. Okay, so to turn it off, I just clicked on the little microphone icon. So that's another tool that we have available to us in here. Okay, so whenever I'm ready to hide it, I'll just drop it down, and so it goes away. And the icon is still here, so if I want to turn it back on, I can just tap on it, and it becomes active again, and then I can hide it. Okay, so that's a really useful tool if you ever wanted to use that. I'm going to go back into settings. Okay, so that's enable on-screen keyboard. So I'm going to turn this off. Now, one of the things that it did have was that little microphone, right, that enabled you to dictate, speak to type. There's another way to do that too. So what I'm going to do is, and the other way, the advantages of using this speak to type instead of the keyboard one is that there will be times when, let's say I'm going to minimize this. Let's say I am in a dock. So the speak to type worked well in here because I'm in a dock. But let's say I wanted to speak the URL address. Well, it's kind of hard to do that because I don't have, the keyboard, and there's other advantages of using this one right here. Okay, so let me turn it on so I can kind of show y'all. So when I turn this on, we get the little microphone icon down here. I'm going to minimize this. So I'm going to hit space. So this works just like it did on the keyboard, the on-screen keyboard. When I click on it, this is me talking again, and it is typing everything that I say, period. Okay, and it automatically turned off too. As soon as I said period, it turned off on my end. But anyways, that's what we can use with this. But now, again, if I opened up another tab and I wanted to dictate here, it's kind of hard to do it with the other tools that we have available to us. So if I click on dictation, www.nisd.net. Okay, so here I can do something like that, and then I can just hit enter. Okay, so the dictation tool works better down here. Now there's another place too that we can dictate. In a Google Doc, if you go to tools, you have the voice typing. So in here, it does this. So if I click on the little microphone icon over here, this is me again dictating my words to Google Docs, and it types it out, period. Okay, and then to turn it off, I just clicked on the microphone icon. So this is, again, another way to do this. The really neat thing about using this tool is you can switch it to another language. So let's say I wanted to dictate in Spanish. Aquí estoy hablando en español y está marcando todo lo que yo estoy hablando. Okay, so then it dictated in Spanish. I'm going to switch it back to English. Okay, and then I'm going to close it out. Again, so this dictation tool is good if you're inside Google Doc, but it doesn't work if you're wanting to dictate up here. So to dictate up there, you'll want to use this one, or if you did want to use the on-screen keyboard, you can just turn it on, put the cursor where you wanted it to, and then use this. It takes a little bit more effort to use this one than, let me minimize this one, than just to have this here, and then you can just tap on it and dictate into it, okay? All right, so I'm going to go back into the settings. On-screen keyboard, I'm going to turn it off for now. The dictation, I'm going to turn that off for now. Okay, so now highlight the object with keyboard focus when it changes. So this one is really neat too. So I'm going to turn it on. So what this lets us do is whenever, okay, so it's not going to do it here. Usually something like this is probably the best place to show this is in here. So when we have options like this, like let's say I wanted to go into files, as soon as I click on it, that orange box shows up. So if I hold it down, like I'm holding down my left button, it kind of stays on, then it fades away. But if I click it really fast, it just shows really fast. But this kind of helps you see where you're at a certain part of the screen. Okay, it's probably good for people who will get disorientated as far as where they are on the screen. But it only works in certain parts, right? So like, for example, when I was trying to get it to work on the dock, that red one is my screen recorder. That red one is not part of the accessibility feature, but it only works in certain places. Like I think up here, oh yeah, up here it does work. And then if I go here, see it doesn't work there. So it just depends on, so right there it just randomly highlighted everything. It depends. Sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't, but that feature is really meant for this orientating yourself to like these kinds of things like that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to accessibility. I'm going to turn this on, And then I'm going to turn off the highlight, the object. Okay, so then the last one, this one is really useful. Highlight the text caret when it appears to move, or when it appears or moves. Okay, so now the text caret, so right now it's blinking right after the word the. So watch what it does when I start typing out. Okay, so it has that blue circle, and that's what's part of the accessibility feature. So this might be really helpful, especially if you're presenting like I am. Okay, so wherever your cursor is going or things change, it will highlight. Okay, and that's the blue one. All right, so just like that, the little blue circle. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. Now open keyboard device settings. So this is the last one. This is where if you are using the word predict, you can change the language. Now, most of the time, what I've seen people use this for is just to change what certain keys do. So for example, the search key, which looks like the magnifying glass, what it does is it searches, but you can actually change it to do something else. Okay, so here's where you can even disable it, right? So if somebody is accidentally always hitting that key, you can turn it off right here. The control key, you can change what the control key does. I know like with some Chromebooks like mine, it doesn't have caps lock, and I do always accidentally hit the search key. So I can actually change the search key and make it a caps lock since I'm used to that, and then it'll turn into a caps lock. Okay, so here's where you can change that stuff. You can change the top row of keys. So if instead of having the escape, left, right arrows, the refresh, those are the top row keys on my Chromebook, I can turn these on and now they turn into function keys. So F1, F2, F3. And then you can enable auto repeat. So by default, this is on. So like if you do a double click, that's what that being on means. But what you can adjust here is you can delay before the repeat, or you can change the repeat rate. So like if somebody needs help with coordination and they can't double click as quick, or maybe there's people that double click really fast, you can change how it catches that double click. Okay, and then here, that's just another shortcut to all the shortcut keys that we do have. So this would be good maybe to print it out and have it next to your Chromebook so that way you can learn some of these shortcut keys. And then the last one is change the language. So in here, you could actually change it from English to Spanish. And what it does is it translates all these words. It changes the whole system of the Chromebook. Okay, so be careful with that one, because if you change it and you don't know the language and you're just tinkering with it, if you switch it to a language that you don't know, you're gonna be like, let's say I change it to Armenian, I wouldn't be able to figure that out, and I'm done. I'm out of luck because I wouldn't know how to change it back. So be careful with that. And that is it. Okay, so for this one, so what we did is we looked at we went into our accessibility. We showed accessibility features, and then we looked at, oops, sorry, not the display. We looked at the keyboard and the text input options. Okay. I hope you found this useful.